Hi guys, welcome to the Group Piano 4 Week 2 video lesson. So we're going to go ahead and start right out with your technique exercise for the week, which is that vocal warm-up progression that we did last time, now just doing in the remainder of the key, so starting from G and going all the way back up to C. So remember, right hand is just a 5-finger pattern going up chromatically, and then the left hand is the 1, 5, 1, then doing the 5-7 chord of the subsequent key for the modulation. So here we'll go. We'll start with G, and this is on page, I believe, 193 in your book if you want to follow along. We'll start on G and we'll go up chromatically until we get back to C. Okay, here we go. G, 5, 1, modulation, A flat, 5, 1, modulation, A, 5, 1, modulation, B flat, 5, 1, modulation, B, 5, 1, modulation, C, 5, 1. And there you go. That's it. Again, you don't need to do it that fast. But the faster you can go, the better. And for those of you who are going to be future teachers in a vocal area, that'll definitely be a helpful one to know. So the Unit 15 is what we're going to be working on for this week. And this is focusing on modulation to the subdominant or to the 4. So we have a chord progression here at the top of 195 that shows a modulation to the 4 using our 1 chord as a pivot key, pivot chord. So the 1 becomes the 5 in the new key. So go ahead and just play this one through. We've got 1, 5, 7, 1 pivots to 5 in the new key, 5, 7, 1, 5, 1. And you can try this exact chord progression in G, F, D, B flat. Those would be some really great keys to try. And that will really prepare you for the harmonizations and those future activities that are going to come that involve those chords. So the next thing that we're going to do, and one of your assignments for this week, is the improvisation in classical style. This one is much nicer than the one from last week. So you can go ahead and just play through this style that they have here. Just to make up a little melody to go along with the chords that they suggest. That one kind of sucked. But you can go through and play the chord progression that they have suggested in the left hand. And if you want to adjust that in any way, that's totally fine. I am fully supportive of the creativity. And then just come up with a melody to go along. I think this one is quite a bit easier than the other one. But I encourage you to do something that you think sounds good and feel free to be creative with that. And I don't care if you write in the notes, you can just do it in your head or whatever, and you'll just play it for the video. So here is the solo repertoire. We've got the Pioneer Spirit. So for this one, if we look at the left hand, we can see a very simple pattern that kind of repeats. This open 5th, 6th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th. We repeat the same thing in the next line. Then we go up to a C position. 6th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Back to G. So this kind of gives an impression of like a little bit of a 12-bar blues kind of pattern here. And then we notice that in the right hand we have a similar thing. 6th, 5th, 4th, 4th, 4th. So if you are focused on your intervals and those are pretty easy for you, this should not be too challenging. So I'll go ahead and play this one through. You don't want to let this one go too slowly. It can get a little bit plotty if you are not careful. But I'll go ahead and play this one from the beginning. repetitive, and this one would be one of your choices for the 5-week exam. So moving along, we have our reading exercises, and you will choose one of these 3 from page 199 to 200, and I'll just play through each of them. Clearly, as you would expect, a little modulation to the subdominant at the end, so do be careful for those B flats there. Here is minuet. And then moving on to the last one, prelude. Then we have 3 harmonization options. And these are the Emperor Waltz, and then we have number 2, Moderato, and then number 3, England. So for this week, no transposition. So I'll just play through each of these. Again, when there's no transposition, I feel like it's a lot simpler. For the England one, you need to write in the chord names. Again, you'll have the options of 1, 5, 7, 4, and 5 of 4. So you'll want to use the notes that are in the melody to inform which chords you choose. So I'll go ahead and just play through, starting with the Emperor Waltz. 1, ready, go. That 5, 7, and 6 is a little bit of a weird chord, and it can sound wrong right as you do it. Like, what the heck? But when you go through, it makes sense. So just trust that one, even if it sounds a little bit weird right at the beginning there. Then we have number 2. This one's a little bit shorter. Here we go. That's not right. Hang on. Nope. Okay, I'm playing the same. All right, let's just start. Very short and sweet. And then here is England. An example of one where you could have multiple right answers for the chords that you input, but there are also wrong answers. So make sure that you pay attention to the melody notes and choose the right ones. So next we have Dies Irae from Mozart Requiem. So this is an SAT score. So the way that they would recommend doing this is to play through each of the parts separately, then play through your soprano and alto part together, then play through your alto and tenor, then your soprano and tenor, and then all 3 together. It's a little bit complicated to do it that way. I kind of prefer to maybe focus on soprano and alto together, tenor separately, and then putting them all together. One thing to pay attention to is where you will need to switch to having the left hand play the alto notes down there at the bottom. near the end of the excerpt. So that's just one thing to keep in mind right there, is that where you will need to switch. And then also remember that the tenor part transposes down one octave, okay? You could play this, like I've said, a way to practice to make it easier is to go down even further sometimes, can actually weirdly make it easier, or going up with the soprano and alto. But I'll go ahead and definitely utilize those practice strategies. I'll play all three parts together so you can hear how it's going to sound.